Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Aaron Trevino here, and we have a wonderful guest from beautiful Austin, Texas. We have Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good, Aaron. Thank you for having me on today, man.
Absolutely. No, I'm so glad we could connect. And I know I told you a little bit before, but I'm especially excited for this podcast because, frankly, I don't know much about this topic, but I find it so fascinating.
Yeah, like we were saying, it's really just spread like wildfire. Um, it's, I always say the market is a mob mentality. It's not a reflection of price. And as you can see, the last week, man, it has been a mob mentality. It's been hedge fund versus retail, and it's been pretty fun to watch and kind of see it play out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Matt. That's why it's great to have people, come on the show with expertise, like yourself. So for those of us who aren't familiar with you, Matt, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Matt Odom. I'm 31, live in Austin. We've been here for about 6 years. Me and my wife, I've been with her for 11, coming up on 12 years now. Really love Central Texas. Moved out here after she graduated. And after she graduated, we moved out here. She went into, I can't, kind of health services, service work, social services, sorry. And I went into insurance. So that was kind of my first intro into finance. I think I was 24, 25. I don't have my college degree or anything. Kind of majored in beer pong and partying instead of going to class. So kind of self-taught, but did construction when I was young, traveling construction, and kind of learned from a younger age that that's just not a life I wanted to live. It's a great living, you can do that, but I just didn't want to break my back for the rest of my life and wanted to use my mind to make money rather than my body. But got into insurance. Actually had a pretty good career. Moved around in commercial insurance, which is higher ticket. Started working with higher net worth clientele, speaking to C-suite, decision makers and things like that. And within that time, I was, in an office in front of a computer screen, constantly learning, talking to individuals out of money and learning how they kind of use the system and their money to help them make more money. So just really opened my eyes to what I could possibly do for my family and the opportunities that were out there. So started trading, investing a little bit in crypto in like 2016, 2015. That was my first intro into the stock world, man. And I just I ran with it and never looked back.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to be said for, you can only read books up to a point. You just kind of, at some point, have to be all hands on deck and just do it like the way you have.
Exactly. You got to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's neat how you've kind of had your, your experience in different industries, did a bit of, construction to, transitioning to insurance, like you said, where you kind of gain that financial, knowledge, right?
Mhm.
Um, so, after that, I guess after your first insurance job, where did you go after that?
So after my first insurance job, got in, and that's really where I just first learned about how just insurance limits, for example, are most of the time people just get the minimums because it's the cheapest thing. They don't really realize what that could potentially affect. If they hit someone in a hit or not a hit and run, but if they hit someone and kill them or seriously injure them, that $30,000 doesn't go very far, and you could potentially be on the hook. And if you're a high net worth individual, that is a big worry of theirs, is to get into an accident that's really maybe their fault anyway, but they want to be protected. And that was really just what opened my eyes. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was really the first I guess financial book that I had really the first book since high school or college that I had read. And one of the chapters in there is the rich don't work for money, and it's extra true now. Even more so than it was 6 years ago. It's been true forever. So that was just eye opening to see how he explained how money works for you, and just opened my eyes to debt, which is usually a bad word in society, but the rich use debt for tax purposes and to acquire more assets that actually pay them. And that was just really the launch pad that took me to where I am now. And after the insurance job, I moved around a few times just to move sideways so I could move up faster. That's what got me the commercial insurance job, was just a little bit of recognition. In insurance, there's actually headhunters that go out there and search for producers. I never knew that, so I got approached by a few. They can just see your numbers and stuff. But got into commercial insurance, and like I said, started trading crypto just while I was at my desk, sitting investing and getting into charting and just kind of BSing here and there. And yeah, kind of moved into insurance, and I started buying stocks, started buying marijuana stocks when they were like $4 or $5. Just kind of getting my feet wet in it, and decided, I think it was October of 2018, to just go head first. And I had some pretty good days where I was making, like $500 or $1,000 a day while I was at my 9 to 5. And I was thinking, like, man, if I could do this and not have the obligation of my 9 to 5, I could really succeed. I believe I could, at least, without having that time constraint there. And yeah, man, I like you said, I took massive action. It was definitely a leap of faith, and it was pretty much all the money in my savings, but left a commercial insurance job, and yeah, just never looked back. Took that leap of faith, man, and just started rocking and rolling.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. One thing I'm interested as well, kind of what you were suggesting was that relationship between time and money, right?
Absolutely. Most people go to work and they get paid hourly, and that's really the only wage or money that they ever make. They don't understand that you can invest your money. Warren Buffett has one of my favorite quotes. It's actually on my business card. It says, if you don't learn a way to make money in your sleep, you're going to work until you die. And my wife's family, her dad is, I think, 55 or 60, but just financially illiterate. Love him to death. A great guy, but he works on the railroad, and he kind of got in late, but he'll probably work until he's 60, 65, which that's pretty much everybody's idea of what it is, to kind of be in America. And I'll work and then I'll get retirement from that Social Security, and I'll be fine off that. But there's another way to do it. There is absolutely another way to do it, to where you can make exponentially more while you're sleeping than you ever could while you're awake at work from 9 to 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It almost seems like we're kind of stepping into, maybe a new era of finance, right? So we're, kind of with crypto being introduced and all these different things. What do you think about that?
I like it, honestly. I was born in '89, so like the first iPhone came out my senior year of high school. So we had limited technology, but it was kind of there. You know what I mean? And just from my experience with I'm 31, but people think money and talking about money is taboo. You know what I mean? Like, they think if they talk about it, they're going to lose the money that they have or something. So I really like the fact that people are talking more about investing, and because it's great information to have. They don't teach you the stock market and how to invest and what compound interest is in high school. You have to kind of go out there and learn it. And now, like, Mark Cuban was saying that I think his 11-year-old son was trading on Robinhood. So they're middle schoolers downloading Robinhood because their parents started a custodian account, and middle schoolers are talking about Robinhood and GameStop and all this. So I always approach it with caution, but it's really cool to see, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. I did not know that about Mark Cuban's son doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's crazy, dude. I mean, there's all types of crazy stories. GameStop, the original guy who led it, he turned $55,000 into 22 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in about 2 weeks, and I believe he's still holding, fully holding with profit right now.
that's incredible. It just seems like, when you hear things like this, It almost kind of sounds like a clickbait article you see on the internet. It's kind of like, hey, look how this guy made all this money. It's too good to be true. Could you explain, what's going on with GameStop and Robinhood right now?
Yeah. So what initially happened was, I believe GameStop got a new CEO. Obviously, with the way the technology is going, GameStop is almost like the Blockbuster of the video game world, if you will. They're a dinosaur. They have a physical product to where you just buy something and download it on your PS5 now, and be done with that. So, what initially happened was GameStop got a new CEO, which then pumped the stock up. In which stocks do this, like I said, the stock market's not a reflection of price and value. It's a reflection of mob mentality and what a lot of people with money believe. And while GameStop was rising, hedge funds were adding to their shorts, which, if you're in the stock world, when you short a stock, you are basically selling it right now to buy it back at a later price. And you want to buy it back at a lower price. So if you short something at 10, you buy it back at 5, you make $5 a share. So hedge funds, with all of these analysts and all of this data, were basically saying that the only reason GameStop was going up was because of the catalyst of them getting a new CEO, and that they were surely to fall back down to zero eventually. So these hedge funds start piling on shorts, and the short interest for GameStop was actually over 100%, which is not unheard of, but it's just a huge short interest. And anybody with a brain looking at this, with a lot of money to actually throw at it, could force exactly what happened. And they call what happened a short squeeze, which, what it looks like is whenever a stock continues to rise, shorts actually have to cover, because they're up for an infinite loss, because there's no telling where this thing might go. It could go from $1 to 1,000, and they'll lose $999 a share. So they have no idea where it could go. So when shorts cover, it also looks like buying volume, because you sell it first and you're forced to buy it back. So when you take the loss, that's more buying volume, which actually pushes the stock higher. So every short that was covered, which are massive amounts by hedge funds with billions and billions of dollars, it's pushing the stock higher and higher every time they cover. So basically what happened was a group of internet Redditors went and saw that GameStop had a huge short interest, got an army of traders, investors, to follow behind them, and they caused one of the, if not the greatest short squeeze in history. And it's absolutely incredible. It's incredible.
But what's also incredible is that, years ago, something like this wouldn't have happened because, all those people were united through the internet.
Exactly. If it wasn't for things like Robinhood or Webull, there's TD Ameritrade. If it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for forums with like Wall Street Bets and Reddit, there's also another platform out there called Discord, which is very popular as well in the trading community. And yeah, if it wasn't for that, and it wasn't for speed of information that's able to get around now, they wouldn't be able to do it. But this has been done by hedge fund managers and their buddies for years, because they have billions to deploy at the market. They have what are called idea dinners, to where in '08, have you seen the movie The Big Short?
Yeah, I have.
So what that analyst did, Michael Berry, I follow him on Twitter, very bright guy. What he did was find a weakness in the market, in the mortgage, and just found all these stories and everything that was going on, and exploited a weakness in the market that he believed was there, with his own money, with his own risk. And they allowed it, and it almost killed our country. It tanked the economy, killed the housing market, and this is the same thing. This is the same exact thing. It's a group of people with capital to deploy using a strategy they believe will cause a short squeeze with their own capital. And everybody in Wall Street's just upset because it got publicized that they got hammered by a bunch of guys on Reddit and Twitter.
It's incredible, just it's almost like a David versus Goliath kind of story, right?
That was the exact metaphor that I used, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious as well. I'm not, number one, not well read about this entire topic, but where is this going to end? What do you think the end result would be?
Man, so there's a lot of information, and with the internet, who knows what you can trust as far as misinformation also. But there are some serious conspiracies out there that are, if they are true, should definitely be investigated by someone in law enforcement. So it's already in a class action lawsuit. Somebody's already filed suit, I think, in New York, in the congressional district in New York that can kind of go after anybody. So it's already in the class action. I don't know what will happen because Robinhood and all of these brokers claim is that they shut down trading because they couldn't cover the funding to the clearinghouse. A lot of people don't know what, like, the back end. You buy a stock, it's not as simple as, okay, here's a stock, here's our money, and then when you sell it, here's your money, here's our stock. They have to basically put up their own funds to cover the sell if you have a certain account, or if your account doesn't reach a certain amount. And what they're saying is their worry was they would not have the money to cover the funds because of the trading volume. I think like 2 billion shares were traded in GameStop, which is absurd. It's higher than Tesla, Apple, Amazon, like any of these huge stocks. And their claim was it was to protect the customer in order for them not to default on the clearinghouse, because if that was to happen, it would set off a horrible chain of events, which could potentially bankrupt the entire brokerage, which would take your money with it anyway. So the conspiracy theory, which I believe, and I like to think about because I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist anyway, but Robinhood, their main source of revenue, their main source of income comes from a hedge fund named Citadel. The Citadel, they're one of the largest, if not the largest, market maker in the world. And they're actually based here in Austin. So what happens is Robinhood sells traders order flow, which is basically just a list of what trades are about to happen, what they've gotten from people. And these market makers can move markets and front run the trades that they've bought so that they can make money on the spread and get in and out risk free. How that's not illegal, I don't know, because they basically sell you out just to get screwed on your margin and a spread on a trade. So Citadel buys the order flow from Robinhood. Melvin Capital is also a company that was the largest short seller of GameStop. So out of 140%, I think they're like over 50% of the entire short. So Melvin Capital is going bankrupt over $12 billion year to date, and it's January 29th. So pretty rough month for them. Citadel just so happens to be the largest stakeholder in Melvin Capital. Flow from Robinhood. So if Melvin Capital goes under, the Citadel's already injected $2.5 billion into Melvin Capital to keep them liquid. So they're already just kind of treading water. The conspiracy theory basically is that the Citadel with Robinhood to shut down trading in order to not bankrupt a hedge fund worth $20 billion. And they did this knowing that the class action lawsuit was going to be cheaper to settle than losing $20 billion. I know it's a lot of info, and if you have any questions, definitely follow up. But that's and it's not just a huge jump of logic there. You know what I mean? It's the facts are this, this, and this is what happened. So it's hard to look the other way, and if there needs to be an investigation into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is sobering on kind of, the entire financial system and kind of the inner workings of it when, you have a group that's willing to take on all those legal fees as opposed to, another result, right?
Just opposed to losing.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what it is. They've been doing it to little guys forever, and they hate that they got punched in the mouth this time. They're not used to losing, and they hate it, and that they changed the rules mid-game by
Yeah.
shutting down trading. Crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, you just said it, just kind of changing the rules. Basically they're able to kind of capitalize on that, and they've done it for a long time, and now the tables have turned.
Hmm. Absolutely, man. It's criminal what they did. It's like being down 20 points in a basketball game, and then the team makes a last second, just heave from half court, and the rest say, well, that was worth 21 points just for that shot, and now the other team wins. I mean, it's the equivalent of that happening. I thankfully I didn't have a part in it. I didn't trade it because I saw what was going on, and I'd rather not be stressed out over trades that go up and down $100 a share in a few seconds and get halted. But it was very interesting to watch and kind of see, and it's still going on. I mean, it's I think GameStop closed at I can look real quick, but over 300 a share when it was at, I believe, 60 last Friday, and I think it touched as low as $3 during kind of the peak of the pandemic.
Wow, it's crazy to hear that this isn't quite over yet. How long do you think this will be an ongoing issue? Are we talking days, weeks, months, or what do you think?
It, oh man, I don't think it'll be months because I don't think that retail has that long to wait out. But there is a certain price. I don't know what it is, but there is a certain price where Melvin Capital will get their entire account liquidated because they don't have the assets to back what they've shorted. I believe it's in the 450s, but if for any reason GameStop closes above 450, I think they lose like $15 billion. So it's going to go back and forth. I could see it lasting at least another 5 to 10 days. Um, outside of that, I bet they start targeting, and they already have, but they're going to start targeting other short squeezes. AMC was one of them. They've approached NakeD, which is like a swimsuit, where they've tried to pump Blockbuster, which is still actually listed on the stock exchange for a couple pennies a share. So I believe that GameStop is honestly just the first kind of David and Goliath battle that we're going to see, unless Congress and the SEC kind of price in the stock market.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of revert back and clarify something as well. You mentioned that 450, right? So if what again goes beyond that 450 mark, what does that threshold of 450 mean?
Yeah, so well, if GameStop shares actually trade for 450 a share, if they close the market at 3 o'clock, then the broker, the clearinghouse, will be forced to liquidate Melvin Capital's account. And so right now they have assets to back it, which I believe is about 12.5 billion that they have left. So if for any reason it goes above 450, that 12.5 billion would be gone, and they would actually need a section of capital to keep them liquid, or they would lose their entire position, all of their investors' money, and basically have to declare bankruptcy.
Wow, it's incredible how that's kind of their lifeline, just to keep them afloat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they could potentially have injections of capital, like the Citadel has already injected 2.5 billion to kind of give them a little more of a lifeline. Not to say that there might be other hedge funds, because at this point it's retail versus hedge fund, and if one goes, I feel like that gives a lot of confidence to retail. For example, their Discord group and their Telegram group and their Reddit group, I think has gained. So they started this, and it was, relatively large already, and now, I mean, you damn near have 1% of the country in this Reddit group. So it's kind of crazy to see, man.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, you even said it from the beginning. Is kind of, the market is maybe dictated by that mob mentality, but at the same time, you have everybody, kind of revolting and ganging up on, I guess, the system.
Yeah, and it might have a lot to do with COVID, just how everything is kind of panned out. I mean, thankfully I've been blessed in a situation to where I've been able to thrive with the market, with the volatility and stuff. But I know there are people out there who are in dire situations. There's been tons of businesses shut down. And what did I think they got $600 one time, and what did they just what was sent out last time? Another.
I think originally it was like 1,200 and then 600 or something.
That's right. The last one was just a slap in the face.
Oh, yeah.
The first, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, 1,200 and then 600, and I mean $600 doesn't get a long way in Austin. I'm sure it doesn't get a long way any place else. And to be somebody to be out of work where the government's shutting down your ability to make money and giving you $600 is just a slap in the face, and it's disrespectful, honestly. And I believe it has something to do with where we are now. You know what I mean? As far as the mob mentality, the rich versus poor. And I think people are a lot more empowered with the internet, with Robinhood, and how they feel about the elite and how they treat the poor. Obviously now there's a different set of rules if you're up here for the people down here financially wise.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, something that's almost unheard of, right? Because I guess throughout history, maybe you had different classes of people, right? You had maybe the aristocrats that were in charge, and then, there's the common man, right? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
now you've kind of, it's almost like the technology we have is kind of bridged that gap. And, even what happened with GameStop, that's something that we've never seen before.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see that again. Honestly, there's another story. I can't remember what year it was. I was too young to trade. They didn't have this technology around when I was in high school. But Volkswagen is actually another great example of this. I don't know if you've looked at it or heard anything about it, but I believe in like maybe '04 or '05, their Porsche actually bought out Volkswagen, and there was a news release, a press release that came out that said, Porsche was buying Volkswagen, and Volkswagen skyrocketed. It, went like 1,000%. Same thing as GameStop, and it was actually the largest car manufacturer by market capitalization for one whole day, and then it proceeded to just fall like a rock.
Huh.
And what's so interesting about just kind of comparing the two is, like you said, it wouldn't, if it wasn't for the internet and all of these things that bring people together, this is probably what would have happened to GameStop. It would have skyrocketed, and it would have fell down like a rock again, because you don't have this army of money and people to continue to throw funds at it like you do in the Wall Street Bets Reddit. So it's a great example, but it's also a testament to technology and how it's brought people together, and they actually have a shot in fighting these hedge funds.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is an incredible story. It's kind of almost a testament to just the power of numbers, right? Just getting with people, not only your neighbors or your buddies in town or your coworkers, but connecting through the internet with people all over the country. but you're
Mhm.
all on the same page for the same cause.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, me and you met on the internet on Facebook this afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's it's really eye opening. I'm interested to see how laws are going to be shaped over it going forward because this, I mean, as you can see, attracted everybody's attention from AOC to Donald Trump Jr. to Dave Portnoy to, I mean, everybody and their mom is talking about GameStop and the stock market and did you invest in AMC? So I believe that it's going to come back to bite retail. I believe, unfortunately, because in the history of the United States or ever when they're making laws about financial things, it doesn't benefit the poor or the middle class. You know what I mean? Uh, the rich and elite's agenda most of the time. So they're going to do something to make what happened the last couple of weeks illegal and make it very very hard to do again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to hear that, but you kind of have to know the ins and outs of different things, and
Mm-hmm.
try to do the best you can. Although you know, we're not all a part of that, all part of that, that 1%, right?
Yeah, I mean, for example, one rule that I think is total BS in the stock world. Yeah, there's two separate accounts that you can have. You can have a margin account or a cash account. They're completely different. But with a margin account, if you do not have over $25,000, which is a significant amount of money to the normal human being, if you don't ever have over 25 grand, they do not allow you more than 3 day trades per 5 business day span. So if you make 3 day trades, they tell you a warning. If you trade again, they suspend your account from opening positions for 90 days. But you can go to Vegas and cash your paycheck and go put it all on red if you would like to, and nobody will bat an eye. So that's why I believe that something is going to happen. There's going to be some congressional measures, some laws that come about in order for them to limit what happened and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost one of those things like why can an 18-year-old pull out a student loan for 200K, when they can't, get 15K for a business loan, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's just how society has built people to think. You know what I mean? Box in school usually gets you sent to the principal's office, or and like Elon Musk says, he doesn't require his employees to have college degrees anymore. You can learn anything you want for free on YouTube, on Udemy, which is a really cool site to do courses. I think they're like $5 or $10 a piece. I've seen websites where you can go take your own MBA at MIT. They have all the courses. I think the courses might be 5 or 6 years old, but MIT is the most prestigious Ivy League school, one of the most prestigious Ivy League schools out there. And they have their course content out there for free that people pay 50, 100 grand a semester to go to. So I love technology and I love where we're going. Just playing cautiously in the markets where we are, especially politically wise. Who knows what's going to come about? Bernie Sanders is on the Treasury Committee, and he's already wanted to target day traders and their profits. He wants to tax trades in and out. So I'm overly cautious right now, just to kind of see what happens and where we go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Matt. I guess like anything else, only time will tell, right?
Yeah, and with the stock market, I mean, you really only have time. that's that's what'll tell you what it is. And with the stock market, it's fun because you got to put your money where your mouth is. If you believe an idea, there's no better way to find out if it works than to put $1,000 on it or $100 or whatever you can be comfortable with in a trade.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, it's fascinating to kind of hear, your take on everything that's going on, not only in the world with, how things are structured, but also this whole I don't even want to call it a fiasco, but just kind of this situation, right?
Yeah, extravaganza, if you will. It's yeah, man. There's not really been anything like this that has taken over. I mean, there have been reports of people in Australia buying it. People have been trying to use VPNs to go on different countries' internets and buy in Australia or Mexico or wherever they can. And I mean, I've heard of people putting rent money, taking out HELOCs to buy GameStop. So it's just been a free for all in the market. Which I mean, these things happen. They happen all the time. It's just this is the first time I feel like it's really gotten a ton of traction, like it has.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I'm assuming that, let's just say worst case scenario, they lay the hammer down, that legislation comes in. What do you think, potentially day trading could look like, or, kind of what these people, what would their day to day look like?
Uh, well, I think they might take away no commissions because that was a big barrier to entry for people with smaller accounts, where each trade in and out would cost almost $5 to $7. So you would be paying $14 per trade. Where now Robinhood and Webull and even these larger brokers have gone to no commission. So the barrier to entry is basically zero. You can deposit $100 and start trading. You can buy fractional shares with Robinhood. Um, so I believe that they're going to limit what you can and can't do as far as day trading. They already have what are called circuit breakers, where if a stock rises too much or falls too much, they halt trading. Now I believe they might actually put in some volume circuit breakers to where if just exactly like what happened with GameStop, and their excuse for shutting it down was, well, we couldn't front the funds because we didn't have them to get past the clearinghouse. So if that happens, we default and then we go bankrupt basically. So I believe that they're going to put a few volume circuit breakers. If something hits a billion in volume, it immediately shuts down for the day to cool down. Um, they they might put some type of regulation on these groups as far as cracking down on a few to scare the rest of them, because technically, you're not supposed to give out financial information without being a licensed broker, or, with your Series 67, et cetera. So I could see them kind of bringing the hammer down some of these groups, especially the large ones like Wall Street Bets, just to maybe kind of scare the rest of the people off. But I see, with beside the laws, I see a major shift to cryptocurrency for the average investor. Cryptocurrency, I don't know if you know much about it, but the markets are 24/7, 365. They don't shut down for Christmas, Thanksgiving, your mom's birthday, nothing. They're open all of the time. And I believe just since all of this has happened since Wednesday, I believe Bitcoin is up 22%. There's a few things, especially in the DeFi market, which is kind of the anonymous market. These things have gone up hundreds of percent already. Dogecoin, which is just a meme coin, has, I believe, 800% in the last 2 days.
Wow.
So, yeah, I believe, like I said, the laws, I think they're coming, but it's just also a huge financial shift, and kind of just shows the landscape of where uh, kind of where we are as a society. You know what I mean? It's the haves versus have-nots, really, at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's a recurring theme throughout history, right? The haves versus the have-nots. But except now, there's a new factor in it, and that's digital currency.
Yeah, Bitcoin is, I mean, extremely exciting. I really like the use cases of them. The big three are really great. There's a few that have made a lot. The 2000 .com bubble, basically the strong survive. I believe that that's still going to happen. crypto is very, very volatile, and all it takes for it useless is for the United States to come out and ban it. If the United States was to ban crypto and blacklist any other countries from using it, an example of a blacklisted country is North Korea or Cuba. They don't know, I think, but now, but they don't allow you to clear your dollars to do transactions in U.S. dollars. So if you don't have a can't remember. It had a brain moment. If you don't know what your dollar transfers to the U.S. dollar, your dollar is just basically worthless, and nobody accepts it. You can't take your North Korean dollar and go to Europe and try to pay for it. So and Bitcoin is a direct threat to the U.S. dollar, and people know that. Janet Yellen, who is Biden's Treasury Secretary now, has already said that she believes cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is used for illegal purposes by people who basically launder money and use drugs and sell drugs. So if that happens, one, I believe it'll crash Bitcoin initially, but it just shows even further the validity and the strength and the actual threat that Bitcoin is to the monetary system and policy that we have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really intriguing. I mean, you even said it being a threat to the monetary system and a threat to the status quo, because we've never had anything like this before.
No, I mean, this is completely new. You know, there were people like Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan that the complete bubble, called it trash, called it, illegal for, money launderers, to where now they have Bitcoin exposure. They have started buying Bitcoin for their firm and for their clients. And it just shows that you don't have to understand something in order to invest in it. Understand it completely in order to invest in it, because now with the internet, with the way things are going, it's based off momentum, and it's based off public sentiment a lot more than it's based and how much money you make.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really kind of opened things up, on so many different fronts. I think the first time it really hit home for me was this was, way back earlier in the year before before coronavirus, and I was, just trying to sell like an old treadmill from my house, right? So
Mhm.
I went on Craigslist and I put it on there, and there was a checkbox that said, "Do you accept cryptocurrency?" And I thought about it and I thought, that's the first time
Really?
I've actively seen an option like that in the public sphere. And now it's everywhere.
Yeah, they have Bitcoin ATMs. They have there's actually been, I mean, real estate bought with Bitcoin. People buy supercars, Rolexes. There's actually a site out there called Bitrefill that you can buy gift cards to Amazon, Target, Walmart, all of these big box stores with crypto, and they just send you a digital gift card, and you just redeem it and get to shop online or do whatever you want. So I believe there's been large companies talking about switching their balance sheets to Bitcoin. I believe the mayor of Miami is actually starting to add Bitcoin to their pension fund, to adding exposure to Bitcoin in their pension fund. So I believe he's the first like major city to do that. There have been some cities that actually allow their residents to pay their taxes in cryptocurrency as well. So it is still not mainstream. You know what I mean? I believe it's still got a long way to go before we get full adoption, just because of some of the hurdles as far as time. Like there was a six-figure transaction I did on Bitcoin from an investor that I was working with, and it took 2.5 hours to send 120 grand. And when you're doing that, it's very nerve-wracking, because that is a lot of money. At the time, I think it was, maybe 5 Bitcoin, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 150, 180 grand that is potentially just out there floating in the internet waiting to be confirmed somewhere, and you're thinking, oh God, did I put in a wrong number for the address? Did I not did I, just
Yeah.
anything that could be out there. So that was a stressful 2.5 hours. And until they fix some of the hurdles and things like that, I believe we still got a long way to go, which is great because you're still not late to the party, even at 40 grand, or 30 grand, which is crazy. I wouldn't just, drop everything you have at 40 grand because it does go up and down. Dollar cost averaging is the best thing that you can do as a long-term investor. And, this isn't a next week or a next year thing. Bitcoin, I believe, will be here for a long time. And, who knows where it'll be and what these other coins will be in 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I'm just curious, do you think it'll break 100K by the end of this year?
Man, it's gonna be tough. Again though, it from December 18th to I believe December 30th, I believe it went 100%. It went 18 to 36,000.
Wow.
So I mean, for it to go another 100% would be 72, and then it would only need another 50% jump. I've seen some crazy models. I really like 100,000 because it's a psychological number and it's just a very clean, crisp 100 grand. But I could definitely seeing us hit 100 grand in Bitcoin better than anything out there. Ethereum is really quick. I believe it has a potential to 6x this year. It's at I think like 1,200, 1,300 right now, and we could possibly see that around 6,000 to 7,000 by the end of the year.
Wow, that's incredible. I think I take the first time I ever really heard about any sort of cryptocurrency was actually Ethereum, and I remember I was looking on Facebook, I guess going through my news feed, and there was I think someone in some Eastern European country had bought a house with Ethereum.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting. Man, there's so many cases for it now. The Ethereum is one of my favorite projects because of the use case. It's like I said, it's super quick. They allow a ton of different technology where Bitcoin's just kind of like back and forth. You can build your own cryptocurrency off of Ethereum, and all of these other altcoins and ERC20 tokens are built on Ethereum's blockchain. It's very secure. It's what's allowed. I mean, hell, there's actually marijuana companies that use blockchain to track seed to plant grows with Ethereum's blockchain. So there is a ton of use case. It's very user friendly, very cool. It's my favorite crypto project right now.
Is Ethereum?
Yeah, Ethereum.
Yeah,
Ethereum. Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm just curious as well. Maybe I guess just from an investment perspective, maybe someone's accustomed to doing those stocks or doing that real estate. Maybe they have rental properties or other investments, and now crypto comes into the picture. Is there a percentage, or how do you, for an investor, someone who's building their portfolio, how do you incorporate crypto into your money making plan?
So again, I'm not licensed, but I have about 30% of my personal portfolio in crypto. The reason why is because in the last year, my crypto portfolio is up about 800%, which is pretty crazy. So I keep it. I'm in it for the long run. I don't really want to allocate more funds to it. But again, this is separate from. I have an investment fund that I use, and then I have a passive type of investment that I also use as well. I have two buckets. I don't mix those buckets, if that makes sense. So I have about 30% of my investment capital into crypto. The rest is in stocks and cash, waiting to be deployed for buying opportunities.
Wow, that's incredible. That is awesome, Matt.
Yeah, you got to, man. I look up things about when I was young, and the thing that gets me the most is Apple Apple stock has done stock split after stock, the highest valued companies at over 2 trillion. And when I was, I believe, 13 or 12 or 13, the first iPod came out. You know, the big, bulky thing, had the little spin wheel on it. If you would have bought an just, I think it was $400 is what the iPod cost. If you would have bought $400 worth of Apple stock and held on to it since then, which I believe now is like 17 years, it would be worth over $100,000.
Wow.
So that's what got me looking into the long-term part. And with crypto, if it went to zero, I honestly wouldn't be upset. You know, investing, you never really are supposed to invest in anything that you couldn't lose. You know, I'm not telling you to put your rent or, you know, your grocery and food money or whatever up on it. But if you have money to allocate that you can put up, it's it could make you a fortune in 10 years. You know, just don't look at it when there's a red day. If you see it down a few percent, throw a couple hundred more dollars at it. Like I said, dollar cost averaging is the best strategy that I know to tell people whenever they're new to investing and don't know much about the market and are in it for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because it almost sounds kind of counterintuitive, right?
As
Like,
far as buying on down days, or
yeah,
yeah, you know, a lot of people get scared because most of the time a lot of people are over leveraged, so they don't have a lot of cash to deploy, and on red days their account's just red, so they
right.
don't have the cash to average down, or you know, if something drops, they don't have the cash to deploy. So that's why I usually keep a fair amount of cash in the market, just to, like, today was a great day to buy stocks for a long-term investor. You've got Square, Tesla was down 5% today alone. So there's when it's red, most people are scared, but if you're a smart investor and you know what you're doing, red days are opportunities. And it doesn't take much to you know, be a smart investor and know what you're doing. You just have to read a few books and put in the time.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Just, reading the books, putting in the time, which, I can tell, Matt, with all your knowledge about this, you've clearly put in the time.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 6 years. I've been trying to get any and everybody I know into crypto and into the stock market, and it's it's funny now because I'm in a spot to where I do like one-on-one consulting for new traders who kind of want to learn how to read candlesticks, kind of get into the market and stuff like that. And you know, I used to try to tell everybody and give them free information, and now, you know, I've gotten to a point to where I have to value my time. And you know, I've had a lot of people just stop trading or whatever. So that's why I was sure the people I'm speaking to value my time and make sure they're serious, just to charge a little fee. um, so yeah, it's been a crazy transition the last few years for sure. To, you know, now I just have people asking me to get into things. Excuse me. You know, I used to give all this information out, and now people are just trying to pry information out, and I can't even, like today I was on phone calls for almost 6 hours
Wow.
and barely got to pay attention to the market. And I was doing some real estate stuff, working with a couple clients one on one, and just going back and forth. So yeah, that's kind of why my voice is a little hoarse right now.
No sweat. I mean, if I was talking on the phone for 6 hours, I'd probably be a little worn out too.
Yeah, just a tad, but working on some cool stuff. Like I said, I do the one-on-one consulting, and then I do capital raising, which we just raise private money for real estate deals here in Austin, and then also in the Columbus area. We're talking about raising about 7 million right now in capital. So
Okay.
having investor meetings and kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. And what sorts of, I mean, are those for homes, or, what sort of investing are you looking at?
Yeah, so it's just raising private money. We target in Columbus. We target 1 to 10 unit, uh, not single family, but you know, some of the 10 units are condos, some of them are apartments. we really like the affordable housing market in Columbus. My kind of mentor and semi business partner now, his name's Tyler Bassetti. Great guy. He's younger than me. Is a just a savage. He was a loan officer. He did like 4,000 transactions, I think, in about 7 years. And he has a financial services company. They do consulting as well, financial consulting. They run about a $50 million crypto hedge fund, and we've been getting into real estate the last. I think he's been in real estate obviously for the last 7 years. Just started raising capital for him in the last 6 months, I believe. I've been a financial consultant of theirs, and they kind of they're my wealth managers is kind of, I guess, their title too. So just kind of saw an opportunity with him to take advantage. So we sorry, kind of got off track, but 1 to 10 unit multifamilies is what we target right now. We plan on acquiring about 25 million in real estate in 2021. And so that's in the Columbus area. In Austin, we're focusing more on land development right now, like me and you had kind of talked about before.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. It's neat how you kind of have your your hands in a few different things.
Yeah, if there's money to be made, and what I love about real estate is it's passive. Tyler offers great returns on it. I'm sure kind of being in the lending world with hard money, it's more expensive to get than traditional money, but you get to provide an opportunity for people to go out and acquire real estate and build wealth. So it's great to have that side coming in passive, and then I also raise money for him for that fund as well, basically. And it's nice to, as a day trader, my salary and living is performance based. So if I'm not at my computer, I miss out on making money. But having that passive side, having these other avenue or income streams, which reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and being financial, you got to have more than one income stream. So that's kind of what motivated me, man. That was, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I guess we're about to wrap up, but that was a launch pad. If I could recommend, a couple books, Rich Dad Poor Dad's a great one. Atomic Habits by James Clear is another great one. And then 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by James Covey, I believe is another one. He has one of my favorite quotes as well. But it says, humans are the only thing in nature that under the perfect circumstances don't grow to their fullest potential. And so, for example, if you were to ask a tree how tall it's going to grow, it would answer as tall as I can. And that's kind of the mentality that I've taken. And, the sky's the limit. If you shoot for the moon and you end up in the stars, you're probably still going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, that's a great analogy with the tree. So, you may as well go hard and max out and do the best you can.
Yeah, grow as tall as you can.
That's right, Matt. That's beautiful. I love that mentality. Well, I know you touched a bit about different things. We talked about, GameStop. We talked about, shorting the hedge funds, a bit about real estate, private money, crypto as well. Where can we find you? For maybe your consulting or what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I actually run I run a Discord group, kind of like Wall Street Bets. It's a premium group. Me and a couple other buddies started it just because we were in a few like that, and we're like, we kind of see a money making opportunity. I guess I'll drop you the link for that. I can send an invite link for that, and then you can maybe put it in a YouTube video. But that's on Discord. It's just we have a free little group. There is a paid part if you want. It's got more type of like educational, free books, different things like that. You can go look at 0%.com to go look at some of our projects that we do with real estate. That's Tyler Bassetti's site as well. And they do some really cool things, has some testimonials, and just kind of gives a breakdown of what that financial services company is about.
That's awesome, Matt. Yeah, definitely. It's neat how you're kind of doing a lot of different things and you're able to offer different services, and great to be connected with good people who are doing well, like Tyler as well.
Yeah, yeah, man. Your network is a huge part of how you make money, especially in real estate. A lot of times you don't even have to have a hand in the deal. You can just connect to one person that has land, one person who has money, and you can end up with equity in the deal. You can end up with a handsome profit. So it's very your network is very very important. That's something else I learned as well. And in Austin, it's great. There's tons of people around here. And again, the internet is a great spot. It's a huge resource, especially in real estate and networking.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said for that, Matt. Well, I've really enjoyed having you on. We've talked about a lot of different things. The stocks, the crypto, a bit about GameStop, private money, real estate, the whole
Mhm.
thing. I've really enjoyed it, man. We need to have you on later this year.
Yeah, yeah, man. We can kind of see where the dust settles with all this stuff, and kind of where we go as a country and politically and all these laws. And well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just let me know, man. I'm happy to be back on.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Matt. It's been a real pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.
Perfect. Have a good weekend, Aaron.
Too. Bye.
Bye.